Hey guys, welcome back. I was gonna say it's time for me to work on my March prompt for one little word, but the reality is that I've been working on my March prompt for the last 11 days. So it's a little bit different this month, being the kind of practice month. I did start on the 1st of March, and really today I just kind of wanted to check in and let you know what I've been doing and how I'm going to kind of document that in my album, because the practice that I'm doing really has nothing to do with this album as such. So what I'm doing for my sort of practice this month is and I really knew what I was going to do as soon as it was kind of confirmed that March was going to be the practice month. Right at the start of the year, I had intended that journaling would be a big part of my process this year, to help me get a little bit of clarity on some things that have been going on. And I can count on 0 hands how many times I had actually sat down and journaled before the 1st of March. So 0 times. And so as soon as I knew that this was the practice month, I knew that was what I wanted to commit to sitting down each day and doing some journaling. Some this is not fancy journaling. There's nothing pretty about it. There will be no process videos. It's literally me just scribbling the thoughts that are in my head onto a bit of paper. So not glamorous, but definitely really, really helpful. And obviously that's not something that I'm going to do in this particular album. In fact, I'll show you, this is just a notebook. I'm very lucky that having this kind of stationery addiction means that there are plenty of blank notebooks floating about in here. All I did was grab one. I covered the cover because you can see the notebook had kind of quite a lot of fading and sort of marks all over it. I didn't do the back. All I did was stick a bit of 12 by 12 paper onto the front, trim around the outside, and add my word in here. And I did add the date, and that's all I've done really. And I've sat down each day and just journaled in here. I haven't given myself any sort of set time limit or page count or anything to achieve each day, other than showing up and writing a few words in here. I've kind of been averaging, I guess, sort of 15 to 20 minutes is how long I sit down for, but I'm not holding myself to that. Perhaps there'll be a day when I sit down and the only thing I write is that I don't need to write anything today. I'll be okay with that. It hasn't happened so far, but that's how it is. So I'm not going to share in my notebook because these are all pretty private thoughts. But obviously being a completely separate notebook means so far nothing here in March. I am date stamping each page when I sit down to write, so technically I've got a record in here. But what I am going to do, I think, is just create a page in here. This is the back of last month's prompt, so I'll probably do I don't know what I'm going to do at this point. I'm going to have to think about it. But I'm going to do a tracker of some kind of here, and it will probably be something I fill in retroactively, because writing in here is enough each day without having to go into my album and fill out a circle too. So that'll be something I'll go through my book at the end probably, and just mark down those days. I mean, I'm hoping I don't have to look through the book. I'm hoping I can just mark down all 31 days, and that would be great if it is. If it's not, I'm okay with that. So what I'm going to do is just put you on fast forward and create some sort of tracker in here.
Radio, so I have grabbed out a base page. I'm not going to do this in a page protector. That is just white card. It's 5 by 8. And I'm going to use this Sunny Days 6 by 8 paper pad purely for the fact that it was out on my desk, so it's there. I'm going to use it. I just picked a pattern that kind of works nicely with the colors that are in that mood board on the other side of this spread. A fair amount of this pattern paper is going to be covered up, so I'm not worried that this is like a super bold print. yeah, it's going to just sort of add the same colors as that mood board. Plus I like it. It's kind of like cheery and fun. After I replace my tape runner, I'm just going to add a tiny little bit of adhesive. I'm going to end up kind of stitching all of this down. So just a little bit of adhesive to keep it in place for the moment. And then I'm just going to trim out a scrap bit of white paper to go on top to create my kind of tracker, and it's just eyeballing it really to get it to fit into the middle. You can see how much of that pattern paper is actually going to be cut off. And then again, a tiny little bit of adhesive, and then I'm going to take that over and stitch around both of those bits of paper with my sewing machine. So there's two sort of rectangles of stitching there. And now I'm going to create my tracker. So like I said, I'm just going to use these stamp sets. This is a super old one from Feed Your Craft. I've also got an old one there from Ellie Edwards. I feel like tracker stamps are pretty common. You've probably got something you can adapt in your own stash right now. You could always use the printable. I just felt like kind of making my own. Even if you didn't have a stamp, you could use watercolors and just like watercolor some dots, use some markers. Like so easy to create a tracker. I'm going to stamp mine in this super light pink. It kind of is a warmer pink, so it goes nicely with that pattern paper in behind. Because of the size that I've cut that white paper, this tracker stamp is sort of 6 by 7, so obviously it's designed to work the other way around and to be like 7 days of the week, and I've just switched that around so that it fit on my white paper basically. But that did also kind of change how I've decided to use the tracking in the first place. So I think, anyway, this is what I'm going for. I'm not worried about having to turn it round. I have used 2 stamps off that Ellie Edwards one that says what I'm working on. So I'm just going to write journaling every day. And the bottom says what I've learned. So that's just a tiny little note about, I guess, a wrap up at the end of this practice. And I figured that was fairly important to put in here in my album. I'm obviously going to be doing a lot of writing. And so there's more than enough room in that notebook to write any kind of detailed sort of wrap-ups, but because the only thing that relates to this month's activity, I guess, is going to be this one little page in my album, I do want to have a place where I can write just a couple of sentences about how that actually went. So I'm using these alphas from Citrus Twist, these foam ones. These yellow ones are so pretty. They're my current favorite, just to spell out the word practice. And then for now, I am going to like track in the 11 days that I've done so far. So there's a little filler and stamp here. It's got some lines. I'm stamping in a darker ink. Like I said, I'm not going to do this every day, but I figured I'm out, I've got the book out, I've got the album out, I've got the stamps out, I might as well fill in the ones that I've done so far. And that's it. I'm all ready to go.
So there you go. That's how I'm going to document this practice in my album. Like I said, I'm not going to fill in each of these stamps every single day. And because I've swapped that stamp around, it doesn't really make sense. This is 6 and this is 7. And I am going to fill it in that way. I don't think that I'm going to like skip the days that I haven't filled in. If I skip a day, I don't think I'm going to skip that on here. I'm just going to keep going until I've filled in this entire grid. So if that takes longer than March, then that's what I'll do. I really just want to have all of this filled in as a practice of doing my journaling. So I think that's my theory for now. This might take longer than a month. I mean, hopefully it does take longer than a month. Hopefully this practice sticks, and this isn't just the only month this year that I do actually do some journaling. Hey, I'd love to know what it is that you're practicing this month, if you're practicing anything at all. I also just want to remind you that if this doesn't happen every day, it's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Practice is exactly what it says. Practice over perfection. If you've skipped a day, don't give up. Start again. Those little blanks on here, they're not a judgment on how well you're doing. It's whether you pick yourself up and keep going again. And also, if what you've chosen to practice isn't resonating with you, there's no reason that you can't start something different. Something easier. If you've picked something a little bit hard for you at the moment, try something easier. Again, no rules. This isn't a practice about making yourself feel badly for not being able to do it. It's about improvement. So wherever you're at on that journey, I hope you're being gentle with yourself. Hey, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you again really soon. Bye.